I'm Dale Smith for Looney Politics, and the Conservatives are trying to lie to you using statistics, talking about inflation. Now, high inflation on its own is typically a bad thing, but under the circumstances the pandemic has caused with the economic downturn, inflation has not been an issue. In fact, for part of the downturn, there's been deflation in our economy. What happened this last week is that the Statistics Canada released our inflation figures, and we had 2.2% for the first time in a very long time. Why this is significant? Inflation is normally supposed to run around 2%, and that's kind of what the Bank of Canada targets. Why this 2.2% figure is significant is because it makes it look like the economy is starting to run hot and we're going to start seeing inflation in the system. The problem is that this was because of what we call the base effect. In other words, because of the early days of the pandemic a year ago, where prices crashed across the board and inflation crawled to almost nothing, this year's figures, which we see as a much more recovered economy, not fully recovered, but much better than it was a year ago, it makes it look like the inflation is running higher than it is, and this is causing some people to misinterpret that number, and some people are misinterpreting it deliberately. Part of this is because the Conservatives are trying to put some scaremongering around the size of the deficit. Now, during the early days of the pandemic, the Bank of Canada engaged in quantitative easing, which is to essentially use a program to buy government bonds, which helps increase the monetary supply and helps get the economy moving. Now, this could have the effect of higher inflation if not done properly, but because the economy was running at deflationary levels, injecting money into the system is actually a good thing, and that's what the Bank of Canada should have been doing. The Conservatives, however, are trying to come up with this narrative that the Bank of Canada is basically in cahoots with the Liberal government in order to fund their deficit spending, which will turn into rampant inflation and crater our economy in the longer term. This is, of course, bogus. The Bank of Canada is independent from the federal government and is not in cahoots with them. And impugning the independence of the Bank of Canada is actually a pretty serious charge that the Conservatives are getting away with. Now, we should, of course, keep an eye on the deficit figure and ensuring that inflation is being kept to its 2% target, but the Bank of Canada has been spectacularly good at this for over 30 years. Most people don't even understand how much of a problem inflation was in the 70s and 80s because they got it under control. This 2.2% figure, they're trying to tell you that it's a problem, that this is going to mean higher prices for everything. This is not true. Statistics Canada is keeping an eye on this. The Bank of Canada is keeping an eye on this. Everything is actually running still a little below what it should be, and we don't have to worry about inflation, but we are being lied to in order to create a panic. For Looney Politics, I'm Dale Smith.